Right.
We can actually just.
I'm King again with Vibrant Schools of Puget Sound.
Nice.
You guys can
Nice to meet you.
And you are?
Earl.
Earl.
And then if
The
you're
traveler.
curious, that's what's.
Yeah.
Basically, it's a registry. They just need to know if anyone's.
Are you on the commission?
Yeah, totally.
If anyone's not. Okay, are we ready, Nikki?
Yeah. We are
Okay.
ready.
All right.
Right. Welcome, everybody. Hello there on Zoom. I will call this meeting of the Lakewood Arts Commission to order. All right, and first order of business is approval of our meeting minutes from September 9th. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Lonnie's second. All right. Well, I think I'll just start off by welcoming our members of the Youth Council down to the end of the table. Welcome. Thank you all for being here. I know you're all very busy, so we appreciate it. And our members of the Martin Luther King Committee here at Lakewood.
Thank you.
And Sally, did you want to go around and do introductions?
Yeah, let's do really quick introductions for our youth council members and our guests. I'll start. I'm Sally. I've been with the city for 9 years and I put on the events and I facilitate the Arts Commission and the MLK Committee. Welcome.
I'm Adriana and I think I'm headed into my almost 7th year on the
I
Arts
think,
Commission.
yeah, you've been longer than I have.
Yeah, so.
And I'm going to take this opportunity to do a shout out for Adriana, who's a vendor at the farmer's market. She's been with us for, I don't know how many years. Anyways, in Vogue magazine and Interiors magazine.
Oh, congrats.
Yes.
Oh,
It's so important. Yes. So taking her art, her jewelry, like to the world.
Nice.
Appreciate that.
We're so proud of you.
I'm Lonnie and boy, you and I have been on the Arts Commission a long time. Yeah, right? So at least 7 years. And then I have started working with the city a few years ago, helping Sally run special events. Farmers markets and we bump into each other all the time.
Hi, I'm Nevaeh. I'm a senior at Jersey.
I know.
Welcome.
Hi, I'm Bentley. I am a junior at Harrison Prep and a freshman at Pierce College.
Nice.
Larry, I also go to Harrison Prep and I'm a running start student at Pierce College.
I'm Nikki. I'm the office assistant for the Parks Department and I've been with the city for 7 years.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kimi Irene again. I'm currently the president, CEO of Vibrant Schools of Puget Sound, and I also serve on the Martin Luther King Planning Committee.
Hey everyone, I'm John Scott and I'm a guest today and have been invited and honored to be a keynote for the Martin Luther King Day celebration event.
I'm Earl. I'm the vice chair. 6 years I've been with the commission.
Earl.
Nope, 7.
Yes,
5 years,
Earl.
10 months. What?
Okay, well, I'm gonna round it up to 6, Sally.
Oh, our presenter's gonna be there, Kimmy, our presenter.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Well, you know what? Our presenter can be here. That's
Oh,
fine.
okay.
That's fine.
No, come on. I'm sorry.
I didn't know that we say it. This one.
Hello, everybody.
I'm Shauna. I've been with the Arts Commission for 1 year now.
Are you gonna check that, Sally?
No, 9.5
10
months.
months. That was last month. Hey, Miss Lua.
Hey.
Hi, Lua. You want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Lua Pritchard. Commissioner. I don't know how long.
Executive Director of Asia Cultural Center and matron of.
Yes,
And
indeed.
I'm Emily Feline. I'm the chair of the Arts Commission. I also work at Pierce College, so Raiders represent.
Okay.
All right, and on Zoom?
Daryl Owens, 6 years on the Arts Commission, faculty at Clover Park Technical College.
Hi, Sylvia Estrella. I'm not really sure how many years. I know it's probably under 4.
3 years and 6 months.
3 years, 6 months. Let's call it 4. 3.5.
We're rounding up. Yeah, so we were doing introductions because we have 3 new members of the youth council here today. So I just have, a great new perspective here today, which is so important.
Mary Moss?
And Mary.
I'm Mary Moss. I'm the deputy mayor for the city of Lakewood. Hi, and president of the Lakewood Multicultural Coalition and from sport,
I'm so sorry.
plus others.
Yes. And Patty's here, yay.
How do you?
You get to introduce yourself. Hi. Hi, this is our artist, Rodney.
Rodney.
Okay, yeah, come on in, Rodney. This is your seat right here. Patty, there are scoring sheets and snacks if you want them small.
I do.
Okay.
Do you want to quickly introduce yourself? Because we have our 3 new members of the youth council here.
Oh, okay. Hi, nice to meet you. I am Patty Bell. I am on the council along with Deputy Mayor Moss. And I'm very happy to be here. I'm also the Arts Commission liaison.
And this is our artist, Rodney.
Hello.
Have you jump in quite yet, but-
My name is Rodney King. I'm a local artist, doing Puyallup and Seattle Art Commission.
Thank you for being here. So we're going to skip over some of the new business, so that we can hear from Rodney. It's a really important day here. We're going to be interviewing 2 artists, one of whom is Rodney. And we have representation here from the MLK committee because we're putting on a beloved community event on January 11th, which is the flyer over on the table. And the flyer talks about actually, we should get one for you. There you go.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Talks about your art reception. Rodney will be displaying his art here for the first quarter as our rotating artist. And then for the welcome walk, and we are hoping, if it all works out, to actually have a ribbon cutting at the event for the mural. The theme is beloved community. And so the MLK committee has been working hard on putting this on. They do this an annual event. And Dr. Scott's going to be our keynote speaker and lead workshops for how people can actually implement the traits of beloved community. So I was going to ask John if he could just briefly, just because not everyone's familiar with beloved community, I'm just still learning about it. I have these wonderful books here about it, and I'll be handing those out at another meeting. But just a few words so we can all kind of be on the same page of beloved community. At the same time, I'm going to have Nikki pull up the barn picture where the mural will be.
That sounds great. Thanks, Sally. Good to see you all. Good to meet you, Rodney, and looking forward to seeing your art. Again, my name is John Scott, and Sally asked me to speak a little bit about Beloved Community. How many people are actually really familiar with Beloved Community? Just raise your hands if you have a little bit, some knowledge of it. So I'll talk about my experience with Beloved Community and my history and current state of Beloved Community, my connection. It's the best way to know how to talk about it. I've been doing this work for about 30 plus years in all different capacities, mental health and education, community engagement work. I was lucky and honored enough to work with someone named Dr. Vincent Harding and Grace Lee Boggs, who lived to the young age of 100 and was doing Beloved Community work till the day she transitioned, honestly. So, and Dr. Harding was a speechwriter for Dr. King and a dear friend, of course, of the King family. And we did a lot of multi-generational work out of Denver and beyond. And the way that I understand Beloved Community is, Dr. King didn't create the concept, but he popularized the word in the practice of it. And it's really, the premise is really this idea of small circles of folks coming together to work on issues around anti-racism, around issues of poverty and unhoused folks, LGBTQ plus, trans, everything across the board, working on those issues very intentionally in community. And really, those small circles were meant to radiate out to our larger systems and change those systems. So it's a call to action to be in intentional relationship around this work. And And I know I was lucky again to be working with Dr. Harding and Grace Lee Boggs, who were fiercely engaged in this work and practicing this into their elder years and being in community. And it wasn't just a national movement. We're talking globally. They wanted this work to ripple out and change the world, right? So it wasn't just a small vision, but it was around coming together in these smaller circles to have really intentional work around those issues. And then really branching that out and shifting things and making change. And really, it's less of a formula and more of a practice. Like, how are we practicing and integrating this work and not just marketing it, right? How are we actually doing the work? And so that's the spirit that I've been in relationship with the work for many years.
Thank you. So that's just kind of getting everyone on the same page. And then this is the location of the barn. It's at Fort Steilacoom Park. And that is home, as you know, to our farmers market, all of our community events that are, so it really is a community gathering place already. And this is where the welcome walk will be for the beloved community, January 11th. We'll actually walk between the barns. That's okay. You can just go to Rodney's work.
Sally, can I say one more thing about, I always leave like one thing out, but I just want to say also with those elders, they sometimes they tell me to speak up about these things. I'm listening to them. But I'm so glad that there's young people here today too. This is like the multi-generational work of working with young people, because we don't want to be in this world where the elders or the older people are like, let me tell you what I know. It's more around, what do you know? How can you help us? And something that Dr. Harding would always say is he would hate when like motivational speakers, for example, would say, you kids are the future. And the kids are like, are you going to help us? Are you just going to leave us out here because we inherited what you couldn't finish, right? So how are we going to collaborate with our young people in a way that's equitable and really assets based, so we understand what they know and really listen, not in a way of like performative listening, but really listen in a way where we take that in and change our ways in ways that change the world. So
I never looked at it that way. I am so grateful you just said that.
I always thought that kids of the future was a good thing.
yeah, no, it's not necessarily bad, but it's just part of the story, right? Because obviously they're the future, right?
But it makes sense.
Yeah, right. So, and I have to say, Dr. Harding and Grace Boggs were the folks who were working with elders. They would be down, gardening with young people and really, rehumanizing communities that have been dehumanized for generations. So making sure that we're it's even beyond respect. It's just really being an authentic relationship with our young people, because they have a lot to teach us. So I'm glad that they're here today.
Can I just say, I love how you emphasize not marketing, but actually practicing what you're saying. And I think that's huge, especially if our youth feel like they are inheriting something. It's easy to inherit something, but then what do you do with it if no one shows you how to actually put that into practice
Or be part of the process of it. Yeah.
Exactly. And sitting down and navigating through that process with them. So I love that you said that.
Thank you. And again, I'm lucky because I work with some of these elders and young people, where Dr. Harding one time, he called me and he said, Brother John, I was thinking about you. And he asked me something about something that I mentioned maybe a week or so ago. And I said, weren't you just having tea with the Dalai Lama yesterday? Like, why are you calling me? He's like, yeah, but listen. He had this ability, and he would call young people. He would talk with them, like, because they'd ask him a question, and then maybe a month later he'd respond back and talk with them. So we're not ever above our communities. We're always with our communities, and making sure that we're practicing that is a really important.
Thank you. I love that.
Thank you. That was absolutely perfect. And I'll just extend this invitation now that the MLK committee is working on this. We're still in the throes of planning this event and what the takeaway is going to be and how people do take it back and then actually practice it. So if you're interested in coming to the meetings, you don't have to be a member, but you could come, give your feedback, listen. We'd love to have your input. So it's time for the presentation here in a few minutes. So I just wanted to show, if you go back to Rodney's signal box art, the artists that were chosen for tonight have already been vetted by the Arts Commission. So just a reminder that Rodney was vetted to be our rotating artist. Our other artist is on a public mural, a public artist mural. And so I wanted to show you this, and Rodney's on our signal boxes. So I just wanted to remind you of his art. He's also got a presentation. But this Black Farmers Market really spoke to our farmers market that takes place at Fort Silicon Park. We just loved that. And that's going to be one side of a box. And then if you scroll down to the ballerinas, and you can just show that's beautiful. So this was the art Rodney submitted that we all saw before we were going conceptualizing this mural. These three ballerinas, I love them. And they were able to be on one of the box. Rodney Street 3 boxes. And then just some other images. So I just wanted to kind of refresh our memories of why Rodney was selected. And then we will go and let you take the floor, Rodney.
I stand up?
You can do whatever you want.
I always have the same question.
Also, just a reminder, we all have scoring sheets in it. That's a place to take notes. I think it's really important. The more notes, the better. And we have some different categories, and that's if your questions are answered at the end of Rodney's talk, we'll ask those questions. And our next artist is at 5:55. So that's the time frame we're looking at. Oh, there you go.
Let me give him one.
Okay, so, beloved community mural. Obviously, I'm Rodney King. I don't know, like the LLC, Kingston LLC. Been like paying for like the last 4 years. I've had like 5 solo shows in Seattle, different galleries and whatnot. I had like 3 solo shows this year alone. And like I said, I'm on the Seattle Art Commission. I shot on there like 4 to 5 months ago. We had our meeting in all. And I'm super engaged with the community doing like art in Tacoma, Seattle. Got boxes, traffic boxes in Kent. They just recently got installed. One of those on there is in Tacoma on 84th and Yakima, right in front of Fern Hill Elementary.
Oh,
And so, although I'm new in our game, I'm definitely, making a lot of contacts and everything. I appreciate you for this opportunity. Right. So let's go to the next slide, please. So Dr. King, beloved community, is a global vision in which all people can share in wealth on the earth, and other earth, and the beloved community, poverty, hunger, and homelessness will not be tolerated because international standards of human decency not allow it. Racism and all forms of discrimination, bigotry, and prejudice will be replaced by an all-inclusive spirit of sisterhood and brotherhood in the beloved community. International disputes will be resolved by peaceful conflict resolution and reconciliations of adversaries instead of military power. Love and trust will triumph over fear and hatred. Peace with justice will prevail over war and military conflict. And that's my cited source. As I was doing some research, it's amazing. As I was creating this mural, I watch YouTube documentaries a lot, and Lord just had a documentary I was watching on Mississippi, and when their schools was first integrated, and they did like a class. From the documentarian, he was in that class that first got integrated, and he became like a reporter or something. So he went back years later to see how everybody ended up coming. So one of the African American male became like the police chief. And some others went out and became just highly successful. But a lot of people don't realize that although they integrated, that class, Mississippi created other schools so they didn't have to integrate. And so they created other schools that were not even, producing great students and everything. But since people didn't want to integrate the school so much, they would rather have their kids be a part of it. And when they finally had to, integrate school and have African Americans become teachers, when they were looking for teachers to actually teach these integrated classes, they realized that African Americans had the highest potential credentials, because Mississippi wouldn't train them. They sent them out to like University of Michigan and everywhere else. So their education was superior to those that actually went to school in Mississippi. Dr. Danilus, and it just something that just came up as I was creating this. All right, so in the backdrop on this one, you'll see it says beloved community. A lot of my style is always going to have a lot of words in it, but you would have to actually look at it. I usually have in different colors, but I kept it the same color with different type of green hues so you can actually make it out. So you got the B, the E, the L, O, the E, D, and then community, spelled out, all the way through. And as I created this one, I wanted to basically show the diversity of what we have, like in Washington. I have family. I was born in St. Louis. I was raised here. And so my family come visit, from St. Louis, they're like so shocked that they see like Somali, Hispanic people, people with everything, because in St. Louis it's just black and white. And where my family lived, it's all black. And so you only see like a white person when you go to the airport. So when my nephew comes here from St. Louis, he's like, it's almost like a Spike Lee movie when you're just walking around and everything is moving around you and everything. And so that's what I kind of wanted to capture in this one. So I just wanted to have like a nice diversity, because you can look and see yourself, and everybody representing this room when you look at this painting. Definitely, that's what I try to capture. The next slide. Okay, so I plan on creating we move back black.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Thank you. I plan on creating a mural, the minimum size required of the 10 by 30 feet. In order to accomplish this, I painted a mural on a piece of plywood size 2 by 6. So it can be duplicated on vinyl by Print Northwest.
Good.
It's or super graphic, so it can be expanded to 10 by 30 foot requirement, because that's a lot of work, trying to paint that much. And then I was just thinking like the panels, I would have to move them in and out the garage and everything. And so I feel like I can do it right here, 2 by 6. I made sure that I got with Print Northwest, and this is the size that's needed in order to expand that. And so I've been talking with Allie, and I actually got an email from her today, and she's going to give me some pricing, but I think that'd be the best way that I could do it. I'm pretty much just done with it already.
So you'd use 2 by 6 panels, and how would they be installed? And how thick are they? Or do you know?
I'm still working on that. She said that she will probably do it like on aluminum, so it's not gonna peel, with the rain and everything. And she said by like trying to put that adhesive on the barn, it'll eventually like come off. And so they're gonna do like a site survey to give me the best option, and then we're gonna go back and forth, as far as the prices.
So it'd be a wrap, kind of like the signal boxes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
But
And then the metal panels would be installed onto the barn, basically.
Right. Just a quick question. You remember when the school district did their mural, and then they were able to put it on canvas, so then you could move that around? Is that going to be a possibility, do you
For
think?
sure.
Yeah, okay, cool.
We'd love to do that.
Yeah,
That
so
was
that-
a brilliant idea.
When you're talking about putting it on the barn, but we keep in mind that that is a historical building.
Yes.
So putting something on that wall might get you some pushback.
Yeah, I have Mary researching that.
Okay.
And I think that's one benefit of having it on panels is it's movable.
Yes.
Yeah.
You ready?
Thanks, Mary.
So the painting, this side of the painting shows people of all ethnicities standing together, displaying a love envisioned by Dr. King. The beloved sign. And continuation of the painting I created for the project, this side shows the community standing side by side. And so, as I was saying earlier, that was the whole objective of this, is to show that, that we all like come from different households, we come from different social statuses, but in all, we're all God's children, and we're all people that can love one another and follow, what the beloved of the community is meant for us to do. Yes, ma'am.
So then I have another question. For the images that you have on it, so I can have a clear mindset that these would be the same images that you would paint on the panels?
Now, this is.
Or this is just,
This is what I would use, and I would just basically get this duplicated and expanded.
okay, the only reason why I ask is just my own personal, I don't see enough old people on there. I don't know, I'm missing old and I'm missing disabled. I don't know if there could be somebody with a crutch or,
Skinny in there.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so.
So I would, that's why I don't know if this is the permanent imagery so far.
Thing that I could basically, I have another panel the same size, but I got two cut. I could do this one and then I can expand to it.
Yeah, I don't, is it just me? I don't see
No.
old.
Great observations,
Yeah,
Kimmy.
yeah.
and Noah.
Yeah, I don't see
Those
that.
Things too. Yep.
Maybe a good question is how amenable are you to feedback? And
I could definitely add, what's pointed out. With no problem. I just don't like, when you do something like with an orange too. But.
No, that's for general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fine, yeah.
Thank you. I did, because I know artists, I mean, that's your passion. And I don't want to like interrupt your passion and your
Like when
talent. But
I was painting this one, my son asked me like, is that the first time that you had painted somebody that's not black? And
Interesting.
that was yes, because usually all my art is 100%, black, like everything that I create. So, definitely not a problem.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I like the generational, just thinking about the multi-generational piece, because that was a big piece, but I appreciate this too, because it's the vision of what it can be, right? The vision of what the Levitt community can and should be. And then all the work that we need to get to that, right? To get to that point. Yeah.
what is the lifespan of something like this?
Can't say that I've done this in the past, so that's something I would have to give it Ally.
Okay.
I like the way you differentiate the people by their faces and stuff instead of clothing,
Yes.
because then you would be in trouble. You would have to have 1,000 people all at once because they're different costumes. So I like that you mean like not cultural clothing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
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 because
yeah.
once you do that, then you're in trouble with so many of them.
I feel like you're gonna be in trouble.
Because I was looking for a city islander, but the one with the flowers can pass for that. Because you also have long hair there, so it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the way but that's why, the only thing I noticed too, the world is not all skinny. So that's why I had to say that.
It's a good
Maybe
point.
just a chubby little girl or something. Yeah, and some older faces, which is good that Kimmy brought.
Or my mom used to call me Husky.
Yeah.
I'm like, Mom, that's worse. Don't call me that.
One of the questions on our scoring rubric that I hope everyone's referring to is, can you attend the ribbon cutting on January 11th? And can you complete the art by December 20th?
Yes.
What did you think he would say?
Thank you, Luana. Okay, what about safety consideration? When you have something this big on a barn, kids playing around, does anything come up?
I would assume like, night at Northwest, French, put it up. They have all that stuff, cause they come out, like you said, they're gonna do like a site survey. And so they make sure that, all that stuff is.
Okay, so they'd install it, so you kind
Yeah,
of.
I'm definitely not.
So, great, thank you for that. And the $10,000 budget, that includes everything. That's everything all in. That's graffiti coating, that's hanging it, that's renting any lifts you would need. Does that $10,000 allow for everything you're planning?
I haven't got the pricing from them, but yes, I'm.
Or you understand that
I
that's,
completely
okay.
understand, yeah.
One of the questions is, does it speak to Lakewood or the Lakewood community or our gathering events that, take place at the park, the family gatherings? How would you like to respond to that? Or does that come into your thought
Yeah,
process?
most definitely. Put you like the city of Lakewood's logo behind them. And so I looked at it, so.
Oh, look at
I
that.
didn't even, yeah.
So we got the mountain,
Mount Rainier, yeah, I love
It's all
that, yeah. Pretty
You
clever.
tricked us.
Oh,
Oh.
I was wondering what that was.
yeah.
When it's larger, will the wording be easier to pick out? I couldn't tell what it said without you saying that, and I'm maybe the only one.
I noticed it immediately.
Okay, that's
I
just
didn't
me.
notice it.
But it's brilliant. So people discover that when they get to the park. They'll go,
Yes.
oh, wait.
Like I got like, most of my things are going to be like Mondrian, where it's going to be a lot of shapes and it's going to be hidden words that, you can read this way, that way. And I think with it being art, it's almost best understood that way where somebody can look at this 10 times and say, damn, I didn't even realize it said we love the community until the 11th time I saw it.
Mhm.
Because somebody might tell them on top and they're like, oh, here, and then when they're able to see it, then they appreciate it a little bit more.
I like the symbolism of that, just looking a little deeper into a person, going beyond the surface and looking.
Will there be something like maybe just framed next to it that has a little bit of writing about this is kind of how people should be looking at this in some ways, or just, kind of not giving it all away, but saying, looking at it in a deeper way for the community to kind of see that and, your kind of thought about how they should
I
look.
would love that, last stuff, in the gallery, you might have a description
Underneath,
of
yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
And, some
And who the artist is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can do that as
Yeah.
a QR code.
Mhm.
Then
Yeah,
we have the
yeah,
ability to,
yeah.
but you're talking about, like a
Yeah.
little placard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Good point. I like that.
So I actually, when I first saw it, I thought that was Mount Rainier and I was like, oh, Washington State, it's a ferry system behind the kids. And I'm like, no, that's not Mount Rainier. So then I thought you were, was referencing maybe the bridge in Alabama. And then I was like, no, that's not it. And then I saw Beloved Community, but all three of those things are just very cool representations of what you're trying to do in the message.
I just thought that was Mount Rainier. I didn't. Is it because it's like the logo? Isn't that the logo?
Well, it's got two peaks.
Yeah.
Is that why you were thinking it wasn't Mount Rainier?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I saw the blue at the bottom and I'm like, oh, not Mount Rainier. I didn't know it was the logo though. That's very good.
Yeah,
Well, and the lettering kind of read like trees.
yeah, because the
in their own
logo
way.
has two peaks.
Oh, does it?
Yeah,
So this
yeah,
is,
yeah.
this is the, right, the logo.
Yeah, it has two peaks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So but I didn't want to put too much green, so I changed the trees and made them gray instead.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's a very dark space. It is in a shadow a lot, so color is really, really important there. So I'm just curious, because I'm not an artist. And the green looks, really vibrant there. Yeah. So did it just pop into your head, or how do you conceptualize and
But so initially, when I'm thinking of the beloved community, I just think about Martin Luther King on on the Phyllis Bridge, when they're marching and, and they're walking right through Bloody Sunday. And so I always love that image, just everybody walking in unison, going to the same cause. So that was kind of where I was thinking. And I'm thinking back civil rights marches when they were walking with the sign saying, I am a man. And I kind of was, going to that spirit, but this was more of not a protest. It was more of a community. So that's what I ended up just hitting it like that.
Can I ask the young people what you think? Not to put you on the spot, as long as they're just curious of what you think of this and what your thoughts are.
and if you have any questions for the artist? And we'll debrief too.
I think it's a really pretty mural. I definitely agree with some of you guys saying that it's not as diverse as it probably should be, because we want to include more people, bigger sizes, different ages, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I really like it. And then the logo in the background is really nice.
I agree with Bentley. I really like that the Lakewood logo was included, and then I like the beloved community. I think it's the way we'll touch. I think adding other diverse people would be nice. I didn't notice it said beloved community until you said, but there I saw it clearly. So maybe when it's bigger, it'll be.
Our biggest minority population in Lakewood is the Hispanic community. I don't know if you know that, but
Like I said, definitely, not opposed to like adding. Because I mean, it's what I do, I just hang. Day, every week I work full time. I mean, I wake up early in the morning and paint part of the work. Yeah, I paint in the evening. I always got like different projects that I'm, in for. I got, my display here. At the time I'll be at Arch West and West Seattle. I got a 3-month show there. And so I'm just constantly preparing for shows. And I got another show coming up at Hard Noir, next year. Representing the Central District where I grew up. So just constantly creating, so I have no problem, adding to it. Especially, bikes and twins.
thank you. And I want to say Rodney's really inspiring because I heard his story. He came to one of our arts receptions to see how we do it. And do you want to talk? He's a relatively recent new artist and just took it up later in life. And as someone who doesn't do art, you think, oh, I'm just not cut out for that. Do you want to just share? Just take 1 minute. We don't have a lot of time, but.
Oh, yeah, definitely keep it short. It's like me painting is like a COVID, type.
Oh, wow.
Coping mechanism, used to hang out with my friends a lot and everything. And so, sort of like reading the Bible every night. And woke up, my head's on the read. I didn't know it was something to read Peter, it's like Peter, so it's read Peter 1 and 2, and then start reading the Bible every single day. And then I just prayed, for like a different outlet. And already could draw, like when I was in high school, I won like first prize at the Puyallup Fair, for something I did. And I went to the Marines and stopped drawing for like 20 years. But then started painting because drawing, it's like taxing your hand. Like if you do a colored pencil or you doing black and white, it's just wrist start hurting, doing a lot of shape. And so started painting. My wife was like, you ever paint something? It's gotta be like drawing. So I started painting because of that. And got introduced to like different gallery spaces. I put my stuff on Instagram and a lot of people wanted to buy it. And I started looking at galleries, and every time I put stuff in galleries, I sell like 2 or 3 paintings. So it's pretty good.
That's awesome.
It's really inspiring.
Thank you.
Your stuff is great.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Your kind of presentation time is up,
Hey,
and we really appreciate you taking the time to come in person.
Appreciate you, Rodney.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. You can go out any door.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
So our next artist is Perico, the artist. And if you'll remember, Perico came and spoke to us for continuing education. And he's coming on at 5:55, so we have a little bit of time to debrief. If anyone has questions or just wants to share out their thoughts, and again, we can take notes. My thought is we could all take notes, and then at the end, you can actually score it, like after we compare the two, so that you have a little bit of time to digest. That might be a good way to go about it. So does anyone want to chat or share their opinion? Oh, it is quite a, yeah.
Neat tone. There's a fine for that. No.
One thing that I don't know if this was Rodney's intent, but what's kind of fun about the lineup of people is that's when you're at that park, that's how people are there for sporting events. I mean, if you think about it, people are lined up because they're watching cross-country people coming through. They're lined up on the edges of soccer fields. I mean, it's very representational in a way of just how that park is used. So I think that was kind of a cute, I don't know, I saw a direct translation to our park with that. It's fun.
Is there any concern that it's not, for example, just representing the different cultures we have in Lakewood? That came up with another artist, and using faces and actual people.
So I actually, when I saw that, I said, in my head, I said, I thought we talked about that we weren't going to be going that route. Like you preferred his abstract stuff, which I think is really good. But this is very literal. And I thought that that was something that we had all talked about when we were going out for the murals. So I was very surprised to see that. Because
I thought it was very safe.
yeah, I wasn't, yeah. So that threw me off from the beginning because I remembered our other conversations, which were very explicit as an arts commission of what we were looking for.
Yeah, so it came up before when an artist presented a mural and it had faces, and it's like just intrinsically someone's going to feel left out if that's the case. I don't know that that's actually the case, but that, I can certainly see that. That said, when Perico came and talked, he was talking about the importance. The number one thing artists want is freedom to develop their own concepts. And so we wanted to allow for that freedom. And if it means they don't get selected.
But I also think that if they maybe would have known, I mean, because this is tied to their, their livelihood. So that I would think you can give freedom with very small parameters. And so now.
That's a good point.
Yeah, so now.
That's a good point.
He's kind of, because he didn't have those parameters, may not be as viable for this project.
That's a good point. I think maybe because his signal boxes had faces and it really worked, and he
Well, he had more of an abstract style with a lot of his signal boxes. So I think maybe it's that, the thinking that you thought maybe he was gonna go that way versus literal. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone else? Those are good.
Hey, Daryl, Sylvia, anything?
I agreed with, I can't remember who, I think it was Lua that said, or I can't remember who said it, but we do need to see a variety of people in that group if we're going with something like that, because there was no one with a disability and everybody looked pretty fit. So probably need to.
And young,
And young, yeah. So.
I mean, I think I agree with, with what Patty was saying was, that, yeah, I, with what Patty was saying, I've never been big on using faces because it seems like we've had some feedback on that before. And there are so many different artistic ways to express beloved community rather than just expressing what you think of the community as being just different people. I mean, I don't know. I just thought it was really generic and really safe. I thought it was very beautiful. I loved how he introduced the logo. I loved how he introduced beloved community, but I just thought it was generic.
This is our jewel or Silicon Park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I will say that if you look at murals, a majority have faces on. So I know it's causing us it's an issue and valid, but I would like to just caution against saying anything with a face won't work.
I don't
just
think it's
because
that. I don't think
I'm not
it's
saying that.
anything. No, I think it's just. I think more abstract. I was thinking I'd get more abstract from him. That's all I was thinking.
Too. Yeah,
So
same.
that's what
yeah,
it was very
very
literal. I think sometimes, yes, there can be very literal faces on it. But again, this is going to
Yeah.
be huge. This needs to really make a fantastic impression.
And what's interesting is like I called up his other art and art from his website, and none of it is that, that
It's just literal.
non-abstract.
And like,
So that I was surprised as well, for sure. Oh, Susan's on. Hi, Susan.
Hello, sorry I'm so late.
That's okay. We're gonna quickly show you, Rodney presented, we're gonna show you, it's his actual painting, what it's going to be. With the opportunity if we'd like to see some changes in the diversity of the people, but essentially it says beloved community in the
Yes.
background. It's got the logo and then the city's logo, right? And the lineup of people, he was inspired by people lining up in unison or walking in unison or kind of marching in unison during the civil rights movement. But this is a more friendly setting. It's not a protest.
Right. Right.
Sally, how long do the wraps last from your knowledge of them?
The signal boxes, they say 5 to 7 years.
Right.
How he's doing it, I don't know. There is a little bit of a cover there in the barn, maybe 2 feet. It's not a big one. But that's if he did it just like the wraps, which it kind of sounds like.
The clever thing is you can reproduce that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if anything
Yeah.
happens to one of those panels or.
And they're
We
always,
love it 15 years from now and it's so faded, we could.
That's a very good point.
we
and the
can remake
maintenance
those
on it is
panels again,
ridiculous, because they're so easily cleaned,
Right?
so.
Yeah, that was my first thought too.
Curious if he gets feedback about the literal bases, would he be open to making the folks more abstract and the beloved community more like, I'm just noticing even at a distance, the beloved community, I can see it. And then when you're close up, I can't see it as well, but I kind of like that you can kind of adjust your lens and positionality where you are with so I'm just curious. I know that he also said he loves painting. This is what he does. So maybe that's something that can be.
I think it would have to be open to artists too, if they're
Sure.
wanting that
Yeah.
kind of extra direction or not, or
Okay, open to that.
any sort of.
I'm glad you said that because I thought I was blind. Because I didn't see anything.
It's close up.
I didn't see anything either.
But I
It says a
can
lot
see
about
it
beloved
here.
community because the way that we adjust our lenses is going to really make a difference in how we're seeing each other.
But I can see it there clearly.
So are you saying making the people more abstract and beloved community more in the forefront?
I think the beloved community might be more. It may not have to change at all if the folks are abstract. You'll be able to see that beloved community even clearer, even with the same. Because I can see it very clearly right now that it isn't. So, but just I didn't know if he'd be open to that.
Yeah.
That feedback or that change.
Also the artists were told they could submit 2 or more concepts.
Right.
So that was one concept, and granted, it was a tight time frame. So both artists just submitted one concept. So why, does anyone else have any discussion points?
I think the beloved community is really hard to read for me but I'm on Zoom, but it's too compact. The letters are too compact. It's hard to make out. And if he hadn't said that's what it said, I wouldn't have known. And I do typography, so I don't know. What do you think, Daryl? Because that's your deal.
I applaud his bravery and his openness and willingness to tackle this on. He was very open and honest about this being his first quote unquote mural. Sally, I'm wondering if chosen, he would be open to some of the changes that the commission has asked for.
This is where I feel so conflicted because I mean, do we want, because at this point, we're just creating the mural ourselves. Right, so do we want to have to give so much feedback that he's having to completely recreate
an entirely new painting just to fit exactly what we want, or do we want the artists? And that's what I feel like we've had this conversation, allowing the artists to be artists and produce their work without us having to go in and completely just redo their work for them, because then that's a lot of work on us. We're hiring them to do their job. Does that make sense?
But if we give them a second opportunity, then I don't know how to.
But that's a great
Provide
point
that
too,
feedback.
because if we've given them the opportunity to provide 2 or more concepts. Yeah, so that's where that's
Yeah.
tricky too, because we could say, we love this. Would you be willing to, without us giving a checklist of things to check off?
And the other piece is their livelihood. So there's also
Yeah,
that piece of.
Yeah,
making
so
sure
it's
that they have-
figuring out how to just navigate those conversations in ways that we're still allowing them to do.
So Parika, the artist, is our next presentation via Zoom, and we're letting them in now.
Want to be voted panelists.
I have a quick
Do you want me
question.
to text him? What do you need him to do?
I have a quick question. Where
Except being a panelist.
Okay.
your concerns, like, where would there be a safety concern with a mural? Trying to figure that out.
You're just talking about installation, I think, aren't you?
Yeah, just installation,
they
wind
cover the
blowing down, hitting
installation.
someone.
Okay.
At it.
I just put that to be determined. That's not something that the artist would be
I'll just allow them.
Very
responsible.
good point, Shauna. Thank you. We don't need that little child.
Okay, our artist is here. Hi, Parika. I'm trying to log in. So what shall we do? Try the browser.
Oh, here you go.
Okay.
Oh, it's automatically declining. No. You call in. The phone number.
Is there, okay, does anyone know a workaround for this? So.
Oh, I don't want to do that one.
Call Parika.
Well, I think it has to be easily.
It's an automatic thing. So I think it's in its settings on Zoom.
Hey, Aaron. So your comment about being the historical bar.
Hey there.
So we need to have it easy.
Hey, I think in your settings on
I'm
Zoom,
not sure what they would
it won't
allow
let
to be
you
attached
put
to
the
it.
panelists.
Okay.
Can you
my
see
concern.
it? You
And some of the
put
comments
something
I've
there
heard.
that won't let you be promoted to panelist.
Same here. I haven't seen you in the
That would
box
be
lately.
fun.
What's up?
If I allow him, he should be able to enter, but it says he declined. Watch it. When I do that, it says.
On panel.
Well, when we go to promote to panelist, it doesn't let you, but your name's on you.
Yeah.
Oh, he can see it.
Oh,
So we can't see you with your video.
camera's covered.
He asked to accept. And I just learned that in your screen saying,
And there's a little
host
button right over
inviting
there.
you to be a
Do you
panelist.
see anything that says host is inviting you?
Who are you? Okay, wait.
It's still. Oh, somebody's locked in.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Okay, so so you're going to a new browser, is that correct? Okay, so he's gonna try to open a new browser, but he's never had to. Yeah, it's only the time to be promoted. Can he just join like an arts commission member? They don't have to be.
You can call in or.
But I mean, like the others aren't having to be promoted to be.
Yeah, they are. They promote every week, so he has to accept them on this side.
He can see us, but we can't
Yeah,
see
he
him.
can see,
See if he have his camera uncovered. Cause that was, I had the same problem.
Do you want to try this new browser?
Figure it out.
Yeah.
While we wait, is there anyone here that cannot come to the Arts Commission retreat November 8th? Youth council members, are you?
Is that?
November 8th?
It's a Friday. It's a Friday, November. Oh, you probably have school.
No, they have the.
It's possible I won't make it.
The eighth.
We have a retreat November 8th.
Okay.
Oh, they did it like.
I don't, I'm not.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Okay, just.
That's a good point. Always good, that's for sure.
Here, let me put you on speaker. Tell us, now say again what it says.
I don't know what
That was, yeah, it would like showed twice.
Okay, so we're gonna start over. We got this.
Yeah, it won't let me because of the. Yeah, they can't show it.
Hold on.
Oh, they kicked out.
That's
fine. You can send me, can you start a new one? You can send me the link or.
Okay.
I think she's trying to email him a new link.
That's what I was trying to do, yeah. I don't think it's gonna let me. I'm not gonna, you know, on this computer.
So he can't just use the original.
Oh.
No way.
Can you try again?
David just speakers. You can take video.
Okay, wait, he's gonna try again. There's no reason.
And the video is pretty extraordinary, Joe.
Really cool.
Yeah. I mean, I used them on my trip.
This and then you log in.
Wow.
Oh.
Wait, let's try to. Tell us when you try to again.
It's got a camera, it takes video, and it takes still feature.
Yeah, Are these prescribed?
You can get a prescription. Those aren't
Yeah,
prescribed.
that you're
But you
unable
can
to
definitely do that.
because you were previously.
And they've got a stabilizing feature, so.
Okay.
So it appeared twice, and so I changed it, so let's see about logging in.
This is a video that I took. Like that.
Okay, snacks. Everyone can have snacks.
You got new phones?
And that's-
Well, I just have to re-log in with everything.
Sorry.
Did you not have what you were thinking?
I got a cracker across my, until it falls apart, I'm gonna hang on to
There
it.
was a crack.
There you go. Get them on.
Doesn't have a different.
You
account.
So I got a screen. So
Yeah,
just
what you
like
see
everything.
there.
Yeah.
So there's a couple things. We've got your
She
PowerPoint.
was full all day
I
on
could-
Saturday.
Face.
So was I. I didn't either. It's like,
I went over to my mom's house.
Or, yeah, you can call in over the phone with
You know, do stuff at her
Need to
house.
read
Lucy watched a movie and fell asleep for 2 hours. I guess we're gonna stay here for a minute.
she's gonna get her Saturday.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of them are $500.
And they look cool.
The one, yeah, so he's gonna call. And then.
You can have, see, I can't hear anything.
Oh.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, they just need more shade options.
You know, they've got a lot of shade on them. You know, they've got a lot of different colors and stuff.
Did like bone conducting or something?
I have no
What's it
idea,
doing?
but like.
Use it.
Try it. Try it. Take your glasses off.
Oh my God.
She's gonna buy it, and that's what you're gonna see all the time now. It's just this.
Okay, so,
I can do this.
well, when he
Sure.
calls, will you hear?
That's what I've been listening to music while my pastor is.
User.
Okay, so let's call up and start going. We're gonna start going through Perico's PowerPoint.
Oh my God.
You are sorry.
So call them on all the time. There's no shades.
So there's nothing on, can I get everyone, so there's nothing to, does anyone have any suggestions on how to bring Perico into?
On how to what?
Bring Perico into
Well, what
this
is,
meeting?
what's the?
And then otherwise, we're just gonna start with his PowerPoint.
Okay.
Is he able to get in on his phone?
On his phone, now saying,
Why can't he
Yeah, he
join
could.
too?
or iPad, is it an iPad?
I know.
We're just having if he logs out of Zoom and then clicks on the link from the email, he should be able to.
But why doesn't he, we could leave this up and, yeah, but he could do his phone.
A lot of times I can't
Yeah.
hear anything on my laptop. So I just end up doing it.
Should I just have him talk on
I would.
speaker? Yeah.
Sure.
I feel like this
Call
is
Perico.
easier.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna put my volume up.
You've dialed in before.
Hello?
Hi, Perico. I've got you on speaker.
It's working.
Yeah.
I'm forwarding it over to my partner and I'm gonna try to log in.
Okay, in the meantime, we'll just have you, on speaker. We've got your PowerPoint up. And you can just walk us through it. And I'm so sorry.
It's okay. These things happen. Yeah, so how's everyone?
Hello.
Welcome. Sylvia and Daryl, can you hear?
To pretend I can see
Oh, yeah.
you. Yeah, so I'm
Yes.
very excited to be someone who is one of the people being considered to make a mural for you guys. As you all know, I have a history with Tacoma and the Lakewood area. I used to live really close to there, and I had my first solo exhibit in Lakewood. So obviously having something that I'm sorry, I'm both trying to connect and talk at the same time, so bear with me. So yeah, I'd be really excited to do something for Lakewood. I was really touched by the concept of my beloved community. I went over part of the speech of where this theme is based on, with Martin Luther King. And there's a lot of things that I connected with. Obviously, there's like a huge part where it talks about, like what a community could look like and what we should strive for. And a lot of things obviously it goes in with diversity and people sharing food and shelter and all these things, right? So I wanted to find something that is not so completely I want something to seem more subtle than wait, hold on. Hold on one second, okay? I think I'm about to. Yeah, I got the link. Where is it? It's not here. 1 second, and we're gonna give this one more try, okay?
Okay.
Okay. It's this one. Hopefully that works. So just refresh. Oh, okay. Start appearing. It's not working. I've never had this. Nothing's working. Oh, there it is. Okay.
I just went straight to my office.
There you go. There's this.
Yep, so.
Right now.
Where do you?
Here's the.
You have it? Okay. You only have to open it.
Jazz show was so
No problem.
It's just really.
You updated? Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay, I think I'm about to.
Yeah, well, I just got back from a jazz.
Yeah.
Oh, well, my boyfriend's a jazz promoter. So it was his show. He did a show down in Astoria. So I was down in Astoria for the weekend, but he does jazz and that's his company.
Oh.
He had a 7-piece band and a singer and it just beautiful. It was so good.
So just say yes to promote to
Yeah, I
Pamela.
just drove up. I just got here about 3 hours ago.
Can you say yes?
Yeah, looks like
Okay,
that.
can you guys hear me? Oh, there you are. You did
Yay.
it. Okay, let me hang up. Oh, okay, it's hung up. Okay, as I was saying.
Can we see his face?
Yeah, I wanted to touch something more. Wait, can you guys see me?
Wait, hold on. We have to exit out to see it.
There you are.
There.
Way to be persistent.
All right, thank you
Daryl,
very much.
something.
Sorry about that. That was a lot. But yeah, so I wanted to do something more subtle on, I mean, building a mural, right, is part of transforming a space. So I didn't want something like, I know I've seen a lot of murals and I've done some myself where it's like a huge amalgamation of people, you know, it's like a mural full of a whole bunch of people. I wanted to show something that is more subtle and cut straight to the point as well. Like, so I thought of having two children of two different skin tones with different backgrounds sharing an apple, giving each other some food, because obviously, you know, inclusivity and love and all these things are things that we kind of just like grew up with, and but those are things that are also taught, you know, just like hatred. So having children sharing food is a really strong way to show that this is a new generation. Obviously, there's a lot of work that was done to teach the youth the new form of mentality. Because if you go back right in the 1960s and you see like, I mean, you'll see that kids were raised completely different. In fact, our parents were raised completely different, you know? And so like, you know, it's showing this new generation of inclusivity of people, like maybe this is like the beloved community that Martin Luther King was speaking about, right? We're in a completely new world now of social media where people are starting to realize, hey, we're a lot more similar than we thought we were, you know? And I think that's a beautiful thing. And think, you know, it's one of the beautiful and positive things that social media has taught us. You know, there's a lot of good and bad in social media, obviously, but one of the positive things is that it's made our world smaller, and it's like we can connect with many people, just like in the past I've made art that connected with people from Africa, you know, and even though my art was representing people from Mexico, and it just shows how connected we really are. And so I really wanted to show children sharing food, and in the background is like an outline, maybe a plant life, or maybe a garden, you know, showing, obviously adding to the barn aesthetic of it, you know, and into the community events. I think I have heard that you guys were doing something, the at least the space, right, will be used for like community events, where there'll be vendors and things like that. So I again, having these two kids sharing food and having something very subtle and colorful and expressive, right, shown, will just be an addition to the space. Because if there's a lot of other people already there, different backgrounds, this is just something in the background that will be a beautiful addition to what is already happening in that space. And obviously the butterfly is always I use to show migration and movement and change. And in the Mexican culture, you know, when monarch butterfly, especially during harvest season, right, they come back to Mexico, and a lot of them come back to pass away. And in the indigenous culture, it shows that it's our ancestors coming back, right, to say hello, and so we can see them one more time. And I thought it was something beautiful, because it took a lot of work for communities to be this inclusive, and for people to just, you know, to befriend one another from different colors, different genders. It doesn't matter really much anymore, right? And I think it's something that we should continue to strive for, in our communities, you know. Um, and yeah, I mean, I was thinking the color scheme, as you see one of a lot of my examples of my other work. I attach examples of my other work so you can show you that, oh yeah, there's two samples because I was thinking of something playful, but we could also go for something more intimate, you know, like them huddled together could also bring a different kind of tone to the mural. It's something so simple is like can be something so large as well, you know, like they can be either playful and enjoying each other's company, or it could be something more intimate, like they're talking or they're sharing stories, you know, they're getting to know each other, you know, that closeness, this intimacy is like is like palpable, you know, and that could also be something beautiful that we can show our community. It would depend more on what you guys would want. But I'm very open to both things, you know, and as you can see, like I said, I attached some of my other works. You can see how realistic I can get, how 2D I can be. You know, it really, in at least in my opinion, these two children should be painted in a more realistic sense. Because I think, I mean, like that, yes, like that mural right there. That was for a cafe that I did for Columbia City. The owners are one is from Mexican background. The other one's from African background. His spouse, his wife, is from African background, and it's just like I said, it's a cafe, and they're really in love with coffee, and you know, and the coffee belt where plants are grown are mainly through Africa and South America and Mexico. So we just thought those were nice coincidences, and the monarch butterflies, African monarchs, and then there's the Mexican monarchs, you know, the North American monarchs. So I thought that was just a beautiful coincidence to put in there together. But the original color of that wall is that brick burnt brown that you see. So I could find a way to have it blend with that dark red from that barn as well. That's what I was trying to show. There can be a form of playful way of it, instead of just ending with the flat, you know, rectangle. We can have something playful move along. Like it could end with the plant life can be an outline that ends the mural with maybe a butterfly splashing out of it or something like that. I just don't want you to think I'm just gonna make a rectangle and just end it there. I want to have a playful and a beautiful way for it to like have. It's almost like an explosion of color coming out of the wall, you know. Um, and there can be like ways of doing it. A lot of things in art is very intuitive, but I mean, if you guys would want to have something explained better, I could also do that for you, like something that I could actually draw up for you. But I'm just saying, I'm spitballing of on ways that we could combine the background with the mural without it just completely ending in its color scheme, you know. And with its color, I mean, it's dark red. The barn I saw, right? It's like burgundy almost. There's a lot of oranges and magentas that could be used in its background to really amplify that color, you know, because the color isn't terrible. There's a lot of beautiful colors that you could add with that dark red, you know. Blues, I mean, like the oranges, the pastel colors, you know, and they all can complement that red without having to repaint over it. But if there is the color, if you guys have the original color of the red barn, we could also repaint some of it so the paint looks fresh, and then it complements the mural as well. I think there's just many ways that we can play with the background tone, and in ways also like we could also use kids from the community. I could also spend time um, uh, taking pictures of actual children from the community, volunteers that would want to be represented in the mural. That could be something that we could also do, because that way, you know, we can have people that were actually from the community being painted there. And that could be something that could enhance the project as well. I mean, these kids growing up in their environment, you know, they could. It's like the beautiful thing about art, right? About murals is that the more time continues and and the paint starts to chip and everything, it's like it's part of its atmosphere, kind of like the old murals in Tacoma where they're like fading away, and then it gives a new chance for new murals to be painted. And I think that's what's so beautiful about murals, that they have a moment in time, and then we have a chance to either repaint them or paint over them. And I just want to be part of that history, in time, and also in the city, in a specific. I mean, in this instance, we're speaking about Lakewood. So like, if we also include people who actually exist in Lakewood, these children, they could grow up seeing themselves, and I think that's just like a beautiful thing. Uh, so, any questions? Sorry, I had to put in a lot in there since we're catching up from the technical difficulties.
You did a beautiful job. Thank you so much. Very well explained. So you would paint directly on the barn, it sounds like, and not on panels. Is that correct?
Yes, I think this place deserves for me to be there physically and put in the work. I think there's a small cover area, so it should cover a lot of the rain when there's rain. If it's pouring, obviously we're gonna skip that day, but if it's drizzling, it's still doable.
So how many days does something like this take?
It's funny enough, I'm working on a mural right now in North Seattle that's like the same size. With an assistant, I think it could be 1 to 2 weeks.
Okay. And the $10,000 budget, that's all in. That's paying an assistant, getting the paint, getting any lifts. Is that budget? Are you working within that budget, and do you understand that?
Oh yeah, I mean, I've worked with for people who don't know who I am, I've worked with many budgets many times. I've worked with budgets. I mean, my first murals were like around $1,500 to $2,000. I now work with budgets around 20,000 and up, and around 10,000s and stuff like that. So, I mean, if I get a lift or so, I don't even know, since the barn isn't that high, I might not even need a lift. I might just need a couple of ladders. That's what I mean. The current mural I'm working on is around the same height, and I just need a ladder. But if I would want to just speed up the process, a lift wouldn't be so much. It'd be around for a week, right? $1,000 to $2,000 is my estimate, and then paint can be around 1,000, in that range. In the middle, between 300 to 1,000. It depends on how many colors I'm going for. Gradation on skin with spray paint, it can become expensive because it's not solid colors, as you saw with the painting in the Columbia City Cafe. That just takes a lot of its gradients of colors. So just to do one face, it's like around 10 different colors, just for one tone. And that's where most of the expenses come from. It's all time.
Thank you. Okay. And we're running out of time, but I want to open it up, but I do want to remind me, are you in Tacoma? Where do you live right now?
I moved out of Tacoma. It's just I moved near Burien now.
Okay.
How about the timeline? Can you get it done by the 20th?
Can you get it done by December 20th?
Which 20th?
December.
Oh yeah, of December, you said?
Yeah.
Oh yes, yeah. I mean, it'll take me like a week or so with help.
Are you in town January 11th for the potential ribbon cutting? It's a Saturday, January 11th. It's when we're having our beloved community walk.
Yeah, I'm planning to take some time off January, so I should be around.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions before we turn it into our own dialogue?
I'm curious if there's thank you for the presentation. I'm just curious if there's a possibility for community to be part of the painting, like maybe young people, or if that's causing too many problems, or, just because it's since you'll be there in person, do you ever have community members help you with that?
That could be done. It might take time to organize it. That's the only thing. I would need someone to help me organize it. Probably if we want to get it done before it gets too cold to paint. But it can be done with an organizer. I don't mind having, sorry, let me turn my phone off. I don't mind having people come and help, and I can tell people where to go. If I have an outline, then we can just keep them in the lines and I can focus on the on the portraitism part of it, right? But
Thank you.
it just, if you want
Okay.
to speed it up, it has to just be my assistant.
Great. And then Lua has a question.
So, Perico, I was wondering because Lakewood City is a very diverse city. And you only presented pictures of two kinds of people. So, wondering about that and what you're thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought of two children because of the tone, the color. I mean, black can mean South American, brown can mean all kinds of kids, I just was picking directly from what I know. But we could add, I mean, I was thinking if it's necessary, we can try and add more, like two more kids, just not have it be so convoluted. But we could try and put two more children in there, I think, and I could still probably stick with the timeline. I think that could still work. I just need assistance in trying to get people that could model for that piece.
Jericho, this is Lonnie. You know what, I really like the piece where the woman is blue, like she's just a totally different set of colors.
Yes.
And I think that could be really interesting for these two children. I love the children because it faces our playground. I think that's beautiful. And the community around the food and the spirit of it. I love the butterflies and how butterflies are transformational. I mean, I think you could really go abstract on the colors on this, and that opens it up to just being two kids.
That would actually, I would just usually communities and cities want the actual skin colors. So if you guys allow me to do it this way, I would love that, because that's how I paint most of my portraits. It leaves things more ambiguous on who the person might be. That's why when I scribble on top of the faces, like obviously when I do community like public work, right, I scribble on them a little less. I do it a little more refined. Then that's where my stance is on, like, is as a person from a tribal background or whatever, like, but I like to stick with different colors, and lightings. And I think because then it gives us an opportunity to let the mind wander more, sometimes less is more. And that's at least what I try to sell people.
Because ultimately, if we try to get everyone, we'd have to have 10,000 people in the mural. I mean, there's so many different cultures and races.
If I may, like the people that's already the community. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, this is just adding an addition to what the community is. That space will already be occupied by Lakewood people, people in the community, and I think that's kind of where it should also like shine, right? It's an addition to the space. It's not the entire space, and I think it's beautiful that people of all different backgrounds will be there, and that's already part of the space. It adds to the mural.
Now, is this work that we're viewing right now, have you installed somewhere else?
Yeah, that was for a billboard in I believe Kansas. The half base of the African and the Mexican, that's in Columbia City. That's a cafe, and then the one with the butterflies and the kids is right next to the Space Needle.
Sally, I had a question in terms of the minimum size. Has the city indicated the maximum size for the barn? I mean, is it conceivable that he could do a mural around all sides of the barn and really expand on this theme of the butterfly?
It's got a lot of movement, that's for sure.
It's a lot of ground to cover. I think the 120 feet long. We asked for a 10 by 30 minimum.
Okay.
Are you there, Parika?
Yeah, I try to design something with both time and budget constraints. If there could always be an addition to the mural, I'm not against that. And if it could be either an addition, me or not, it could add another artist that would complement mine. If you want to try different artists, I just want to be part of it. Obviously, I'm here to be, just to add my little spark on this project.
So this would be a 10 by 30 minimum with some bleed out, so it's not just the rectangle.
Yeah, yeah. So it probably will be longer than the 30. I just want to spread it out a little more. If we can get that background color of the red, then it'd be really easy to just add butterflies that are escaping in and out of the picture, you know?
Any more questions before we have our internal time?
Sylvia has her hand raised.
I have it. Yeah, I have my hand raised. This is Sylvie. So Perico, I really like this painting that you did of the girl with the blue face. But I see cacti. Is that something that you would be open to changing that to a northwest to our scene and doing something similar?
Yeah, the original one is like a garden that I've seen, like based on community gardens that I've seen in the Tacoma area, because I have a lot of friends that work in those community gardens. So the bushes, this is just another piece that I made for a state that's near the border. The other original design for the Lakewood one has bushes and garden. It's a representative of a community garden in Tacoma, basically, and that's why they have an apple and everything, you know, because of Washington State.
Okay.
But we can always like add a little more. Like that's what I'm saying. Like I designed this in a way where I'm open to ideas. I just want to be, you know, I want you guys to understand that I'm a little flexible. Yes, I want the piece to stand on its own, but you know, the bushes could turn into other things, like things that will show that's more of a garden, or maybe I could have like pines. Like I was thinking the pines could be the outline that sprinkles out of the whole thing, you know, and then having the butterflies drift in and out. So there could always be something. The cactus won't be included in this piece. So
Thank you. Anyone else? Oh, yeah. So the lines that we see now for the concept that you presented for us, it doesn't have any of the markings on the face. So I noticed you do a lot of the markings. Would you have markings on the face? What do they symbolize?
That would be up to you. I mean, like I said, I left those out of the design because like we were speaking earlier, like there's a lot of variety of different backgrounds. So I can't say that this from African descent, right? There's also South American people who are Black and so on and so forth. And people who are brown, like can be from India. We don't, you know, I don't want to make any of that. But I mean, we could add the bones and the hands to if you want it to be more of my signature style. I do think it might be a better idea to leave stuff out of the face just because, like I said, it would show different diversity from different places. And if we choose to go with the more abstract color, the glow of the different colors, then it would leave it even more ambiguous and more inviting.
I actually like that you left them off and that you didn't have the bones. I think that was perfect for the park setting.
Yeah, I just felt like depending on what you're doing, I don't know, you know, like I don't want some people to be like, this is kind of spooky, you know, or whatever. Right. If I feel like there's like flexibility. Yeah, whatever I can get away with, I'll get away with. You know, I'll try to include that, but this doesn't seem like the time and place.
Does anyone from the youth council have any questions? Your voice really is important. Thank you, Perico. On behalf of everyone, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your patience. I hope I did it as good as I could.
You did.
You did great.
Thank you very much. You guys have a great day. And again, I'm flexible. Let me know if you have any other questions and through email.
We will. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, I'll open it to the floor for a dialogue. You know, I want to be mindful of everyone's time, so.
I'm a little confused. What was the task? Because we have the first artist that brought us a concept, finished, and then we have a second artist showing us recycled works that could be joined together, but not a concept. So I'm really struggling with what task they're bringing forth because I like his work, but he showed us things that have already been done. And like even the two children sharing an apple, that's already been done in Tacoma. So I'm confused.
So two things. They were asked to do one or two concepts, understanding that with that time frame, it might just be a sketch, right? It's not going to be a full. I wouldn't expect it to be a full thing, given the timeline. So they were crunched. They're both working on projects.
Okay.
I think that it's really a matter of trusting in their past work and then refining their concepts with, if we feel comfortable going forward with one of them.
Then I get even more confused because we're supposed to not offer our feedback sometimes to the artist. And so I want the artist to bring it to me.
Right.
I don't want to, bring it to me.
So I think a typical next step would be if we selected one to have, we know what Rodney's is, but have him refine that concept.
Like if
That
he
would
were
be
to-
the next step.
If he were to have done the blue one, which I loved, and all the butterflies of different colors and sizes representing all of the community of Lakewood, I think that I probably would have been sold. But he gave me a work that he's already put in Kansas. So, and asking me to then help him identify the rest of it.
But then at the same time, Sally, you guys have said you don't want to give them too much direction.
Yeah.
So you're kind of.
Well, that's what the artists have said. So that, I just want to clarify, that's not me, but he was very amenable saying.
Yeah.
Well, I think,
Because
I think they all are. But maybe.
I understood that sketch of the kids with the apple, that's the rough sketch of what he's proposing to do for us.
But I thought he said at the very end that it's in Tacoma Community Garden.
Well, I think that's what he was just sketching something to get this.
He used the community garden.
Inspiration was.
That was the
Garden.
inspiration.
Did what's at the Tacoma Community Garden?
No, that.
I don't think anything.
Why did he mention it? Okay, then I don't
Well,
know
I
why
think
he
there was,
mentioned
I think there was some
Tacoma Community
confusion because he was showing other finished pieces of work and what his finished pieces of work are in terms of the color and the fit and finish and, so, and then, like the gal with the blue face.
Which I loved your suggestion. I was
did too.
hoping somebody was gonna say that, so I'm so glad you did, because that's the abstract part. and We
Yes.
get so caught up on color.
It's
Right.
The whole thing is gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Well, and it's a beautiful location to have all kinds of color and
Yeah.
abstractness going on, because it's right there at the playground.
And I do
And
like
across
how
from
he
the other
does,
murals we
I
have.
like how he does the colors, just that
Yeah.
blue face with, all his tonal, you could see a lot of definition. So I thought that was very cool.
And I love that it was kids. Because we're talking about, right, it's the whole idea, here's these small circles and we're planting this root in our youth and trying to make changes. I just think that's amazing.
Well, that's what it sounds like, using the references for him is its inspiration is from a garden, growing from its roots up. And then with the butterflies.
The movement. Butterflies gave me the
ancestors
movement.
and older generations coming back and bringing life.
I was just comparing that to Cole Park mural, The World Lives in Lakewood, and how they have that one showing all kinds, so that didn't appeal to me.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't care for it either. The only thing that I did like was it had movement because of the butterflies, and that it had movement. But other than the color tones, the blue, it just didn't have excitement to me. It didn't grasp. Yeah, just didn't have. It didn't have the vibrance that I would like to feel. If I went, go to the Fort Silicon and I said I want it to be vibrant. I want it to
It needs to.
shout at me.
Yeah, it didn't grab me.
I will say, I've seen his art, not realizing it was his art elsewhere. In fact, he had a couple pieces up at the state fair. And I saw it, I was like, wow, that's really pretty. I wonder who the artist is. It was beautiful. I think it was like a hummingbird and so much color and again, movement. And I saw his signature and said, that makes so much sense. So actually seeing his work in person, it's hard to translate what we
Yeah.
see just on screen, but I will say, seeing some of his work in person, it's phenomenal. It really is beautiful.
I don't know that anyways.
Hey,
I think we need to go with the artist.
Yeah.
I have a comment.
Go ahead, Sylvie.
In all honesty, I feel like we're rushing this. We're down to 2 artists and we're like picking it apart, and I don't feel like we have a good we don't have enough artists contributing. We don't have enough variety. I feel like we're just trying to choose the best out of two.
No, we got three.
But Dion
Oh, she's
opted
back
out. That's very valid, very valid.
I agree with you, Sylvie.
And also we're coming up in the winter season and I feel like we're just trying to get this done before MLK Day. And I think we need, honestly, I think we should wait for and do it on the next round and be able to just open it up and get a good choice of different artists that can bring enough to the table to be able to something that we're really in love with, that comes with concepts that we're really in love with, that we're excited about. Right now, I feel like we're settling.
Thank you. Those are really valid points. And we by no means have to choose an artist today. We do have a budget for this year, and that does not carry over, but we'll have another budget next year. Or if we selected the artist by, let's say, December, but they were going to paint in the next year, that would be doable too. But we don't have to feel rushed if we don't find the right artist. But if there's people at the table that do like one of these artists, then we should hear that.
Sally, this is Susan. My vote would be for Perico. I really was rather disappointed in Rodney's concept there. It was very generic. The facial features were all the same. And I just don't think that's us. That's just my one quick comment.
Thank you.
I have something I just want to throw out to you guys. So I think that Sylvia, I agree not to rush it if you don't have to. Get more things. This is the jewel, the crown piece for Silicon Park. This piece needs to be phenomenal. That goes up there. I know that you said you will you'd be losing some budget if you didn't go with it this year, just this year.
Yeah.
But could you possibly use that to buy some of the artwork to start the city's art collection? Because I know that that was brought up previously and looking for money for it. So you could possibly, if you guys didn't go this route and stick with the mural for this budget, you know, for the end of this year, you can take some of that money and start getting the city's art collection going, maybe.
That's a great suggestion.
Good thought, really good thought. That's kind of like a win-win on a lot of different fronts.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Just from a community perspective, because that's what I serve on with the Martin Luther King Committee. If we don't do the mural and tie it into the beloved community celebration, what would the mural be like away from this? Because I saw the mural as really being an integral part of launching the beloved community, and we're going to lose that. And as a community person, that's not, I don't feel comfortable.
Maybe the mural could symbolize the year anniversary of the beloved.
Well, I think that it could still definitely have that theme and just, you know, we're gonna have the
Next year?
workshops. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
okay.
And then it
Just,
could
I
be
just want,
another
I'm
theme
just
we
saying,
do.
I don't want to lose that.
Yeah, I don't think it means the theme's gonna change.
Yeah, I don't like, I mean, my hope is that if you do a mural next year, it's a whole different theme.
No.
Okay, all right, just wanted to make sure, I just want to stay connected.
What if we get a banner printed super large for the barn in the meantime that says beloved community, and maybe put up the mural that the high school students did during the welcome walk? You know, the world looks good.
As a banner?
Yeah.
Until we.
Until
do
until you get something
a
good.
beloved
Yeah.
community
Thank
mural.
you.
I can live with that.
Yeah. And put a big thing, beloved
Trying to get you to
community.
buy it. Just get the art without
I love that.
us taking, you know, yeah.
I just don't want to lose
But
the
also
connection.
if we,
Yeah, I
um,
don't
We
want to
don't
lose the
either.
connection.
no, I think
it's
it's a timeless
be
theme,
there.
right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah, that's not.
Other thoughts? I mean, Susan was like, okay, I like Perico. Is anyone really strong one way or another? Like, I don't want to go back out. I want to pick Rodney or
I loved Perico, so it really resonated with me, so.
Yeah, I also.
Yeah.
And
So youth council, you all like Perico?
Yeah.
Adriana?
I like his work. I mean, I would love to see his work hire him for something at some point in time. That's.
Do you think that you guys could give them like the most minimalist of a parameter? How do you think that the artistic community would receive that? People on the call too? What do you think? I mean, just so if you're gonna go back out and ask for more submissions, could you give them just like a couple bullet points? Not that would tell them what to paint, but just something to guide them a little bit more?
But that doesn't speak to the urgency of getting it done.
Well, it's not, we're already saying it probably won't get done.
Right, for this year.
Yeah. Although we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people that are really liking Perico, so I think we have to be careful
Well,
about.
that's what
people
I don't know what we're
to
doing.
vote.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Well, I think we need to put it up for a vote. And I think at this point, I would ask if you want to share, and it's a public meeting, so you can stay as long as you want, but, John, is there anything you want to add about Perico's, just from your background in this work?
Yeah, I think between the two, the first one was a little more literal and the second one was a little more abstract. And I'm kind of imagining something in between that. And so just thinking about, again, on the tip of community, you know, I like the two kids. That's from that kind of the new vision or the new generation that's coming up. But I definitely want to see maybe more of a community, more than two. I think in those images. So I'm just imagining something between. I'm also thinking about, since there's going to maybe be some time, maybe to the next to when this is going to be done. What does it mean to ask the community what they think the Lubbock community looks like? What are the images? I mean, that could be young people drawing pictures, or could be part of, I don't know, just something where there's this kind of engagement around what's that mirror image of Lakewood?
Now, I know that Perico did say that if we wanted to use actual images of people from the community, that would be something.
Right, pictures.
Be able to do. To include, so like if we stylistically like his art.
Yeah, I think we're looking at the style.
Yeah. Would we want him to potentially have photographs of children from our community?
Which we're not allowed to do that, right?
There's no, if the artist says they want to do it, we could do it, and he said we can absolutely do that. So it's
I
what.
thought in our criteria that we couldn't. That would be.
No.
No, it's not.
Do you have any?
Yeah, I love the blue, that image. It was
I love that.
gorgeous. And then also, I think the tricky part of that is that there's also a huge segment of the societies like, color doesn't matter. No, actually it does. Because there's a lot of things still in the way. So we think that there's no work to be done. It's just an interesting, but artistically and creatively, I love that image of like, but how can we, and it sounded like he was open to shifting and changing things as we needed it, so.
Yeah, these are really good points.
How important is it for us to have an original piece that hasn't been used somewhere else?
Sylvia, I was just going to address that. My experience with working with I have worked with him probably longer than most people in this room, is that when he's commissioned to do a mural, he does an original mural. He doesn't recycle. He's a really deep artist, and he reaches deep into the communities that he works with to find original material. That's my experience.
And while I understand that, but if we're choosing this artist, then we have to go through many, many more rounds of deciding what's appropriate. I mean, I have to give, while I didn't prefer the first artist so much, I had to give him props for delivering a finished piece. And if we're judging it on style, well, I like Rodney King's style just as much as I like Perico's style. if we're judging it on style and not the piece that he just brought. So, that's where I'm kind of on walking the line on this.
And to be honest, I am offended that there were only two kinds of people stolen by him. So, sorry, that's how I feel. I live in Lakewood. But so when I go to Silicon Park, I do not just want to see Mexican and Black people on the wall. I am
Understood.
sorry. So
Diversity.
Yeah.
that does not say diversity. I'm sorry. If that's what Perico thinks diversity is. So
I mean, the presentation that we saw from Perico is a presentation that he should have given to be a potential artist. But we've already chosen him as a potential artist. So I was expecting a finish.
Yeah.
Okay, that definitely wasn't you. So typically in a first round, it's never a finished piece. It's just a concept and it's like a sketch concept, especially in the concept.
Oh,
So,
okay.
so you could say that, but that is not a realistic expectation.
But at least even if it's not, there's a concept. I didn't have a concept. He could have brought a concept. He just said, I did this, I did that, I did that, I did that, but there wasn't a concept.
That black and white sketch.
Yeah.
was his concept.
Yeah, it wasn't.
That was his concept.
Yeah.
And this is a really healthy, normal, good dialogue.
It is.
It's objective. So I really, I keep coming and don't feel like you can't say your opinion in this room.
Yeah.
Like we really value your thoughts.
But I'm like Lou, I don't care for that at all. It doesn't.
See, I love it.
Yeah, I don't.
I think less is more is kind of what he
Yeah,
was
just-
looking for.
He's
Like,
looking for
it's
the
not
symbol.
to represent everyone in Lakewood, but just to complement the community within Lakewood.
So I
But
do
people
like that,
don't-
but not for beloved community.
Yeah, yeah,
For a
yeah.
different purpose.
Yeah, it doesn't make it for me.
Columbus community,
Doesn't say
what
that.
Rodney did, I feel very close to it. Even though, even though I don't see bigger people there and I don't see older people there, and I also see different kinds of faces that I could possibly say it's not my community face or sample, but I see different kinds of people. It's just that thing that comes out of that Rodney picture that says different. They're different people. They're different faces. They're different clothing. They're different, it's all the mixture of people.
Yeah, and then
And that's what beloved community is. to me.
And I like that he incorporated the city of Lakewood with the logo and the map. I don't know, it just resonated more for me for the bigger picture of community.
You know, another interesting thing is what Perico said about like painting on the actual barn and like the texture of a mural and the life of a mural. And so a wrap's also very different. That's just another thing to think about. It's like a shiny metal. Not that that's good or bad, but I just thought that was interesting.
But
And yet another thing to think about.
But to the deputy mayor's point, can we paint on the barn?
That's a big challenge.
I don't know.
So that's
Mary-
one
Mary's
thing we don't
looking.
know.
I figured you had know that.
Well, yeah, we've had that dialogue.
Yeah, I figured that's already been discussed.
Okay, so here we are. We can choose to vote to do a whole nother call. We can choose to vote to pick one artist and then work with that artist and hone down through typically it'd be maybe 2 or 3 more iterations where they present, we give feedback, they present until they come up with the final concept. And so, can anyone think of anything else? So we'll just kind of put that out for a vote. So we can vote if we want to work with Perico, if we want to work with Rodney. Neither we want to put another call out, which is fine, and have people come back with concepts. Will we get what we want or envision? That's still, we don't know, right?
But I think we have to be clear in what you're asking for, that if you're asking for a concept, then I think it needs to be solid as a concept.
The concept is beloved community.
Yeah, but that's what I'm
the
saying.
theme,
Yeah, so, but,
And then the artist gets to take that,
right.
knowing and do their research and then present.
Exactly.
So, okay, let's do it. Everyone's still online.
Going back to our first mural that we did, we kind of went through the same process where it was like, oh no, I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. And it was like nitpicking every single artist. But we chose an artist based on her designs and concepts. And then we trusted that she would be able to come up with a design that ultimately everybody ended up loving. So just keep in mind that just because you don't think you like it because of what you see here, doesn't mean that he can't come back and have something that you really love.
Yeah.
And it seems like both artists are really open to
Uh-huh.
working with us to create something that we would really like. So
So is it a possibility to have the both come back at a certain time before we choose which one? And come back and let it and sell it to us again?
We're getting them.
But the timing is,
Well, I think we need to let go of the timeline and just, this is about picking the right artist.
Yeah.
But if we feel like, I mean, like Rodney's was very solid, but if you'd like to see another concept of his and Perico, another drill down concept, yeah, absolutely. Is that what we want to do? So, sorry, you can't vote.
I don't know. No, I'm not. I'm saying, I'm not.
gonna
I know
say,
my place.
Would you like to, what
Not vote.
would you like to stick with these two artists and see further concepts? And we can give feedback of what we were wanting to see more of. Or do we want to completely open it up again? And possibly lose those two? I don't know how that looks.
I don't know about completely opening up the others, but I liked both of them. I don't know. I mean, I liked both of them. I think one
So
did a
we-
little bit more of a solid presentation than the other one did. So,
Should we give them a chance to come back?
we could, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
I'm
think it's
agreeable to that.
perfectly valid to do that.
Yeah, thank you, Susan. You're the art curator. So what would that look like?
I wouldn't give too much time because we're, even though we're setting aside our timeline, but, a couple weeks perhaps, if people can do that.
Hey, Susan, if I may ask a quick question, is there, what is the temperature threshold of when it's going to be really hard for them to paint something? Like, when is it too cold?
Well, Rodney's doing it inside.
Fairly soon.
No, I know, but not Perico.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it's going to be soon because if you notice, it's actually dipping down quite considerably in the early mornings already.
Yeah.
So if we ask them to come back in 2 weeks with the concepts, obviously we'd ask Rodney to show more diversity in all forms. And then Perico, just a more, I'm hearing that we want to, well, I'd have to ask what you'd want me to say to him, but I did take some notes. But we need to see more explicitly what it's going to look like. Is that what I'm hearing?
I would like to see diversity with Perico. I don't see it. But that's just me.
Fair point.
So more diversity for those who are wanting more.
But can I ask, like, this is just a legit question, diversity, if we're asking him to add more color, like with the, you suggested with the blue, would diversity as in like facial features?
If he's gonna use people, then he needs to diversify the people. But he, of course, we don't want him to do what Rodney did with so many people.
But as
It's
far
up to
as-
him, he's an artist.
But
so-
as far as facial features or like hair or the texture of hair, because if we're asking him not to specifically do skin color, does that make sense? Like, are we asking for?
When I looked at what he did, I can tell it's Mexican and black.
Okay.
So if he wants to, as an artist, if he wants to diversify the look in some way that is not, that people cannot see, oh, you know.
So not necessarily every type of diversity, but more abstract, so you
Yeah,
can't pick
something
out.
that is not noticeable right away.
I would say a sort of symbolic diversity, because I think that's what he tries to do with the blue color.
You know, they're
Yeah.
artists.
That, I guess that was the word I was looking for. It's the-
Symbolic.
something
I like
more
that symbolic diversity.
Yeah, that's,
Very well, but
that was.
Okay, so we'd like to see more symbolic diversity and just a more flushed out concept.
Yeah.
And with Rodney, do we need to ask him to come back? He said he could add those things. Do we want him to come back? I'd probably. Or are you erring on one artist or the other?
Yeah, with Rodney, we asked him to put elders and, you know, the weight kind of thing there. So, because that's what he's missing. But
And
we
he
love
didn't
the-
have
his
babies
background and
either.
all that kind of stuff.
He didn't have toddlers, you know, he had, are we, but I don't hear that. I hear elders and disabled.
it's a good one there.
I think there were
sure.
enough younger look in there. I don't know.
I think I just want to make a comment that what I like about both of these artists is their interpretation of beloved community. So Rodney was very literal in trying to present diversity. And I think Perico, what's interesting is he was trying to capture the spirit of beloved community. It's the love, it's the, you know, the love, the connection, the kinship, because that's right, that's what the 20 core values come from, that we're trying to instill, so.
It wasn't so like, yes, the piece is important, but for me, it was also, you know, how did each of them, when they talked about beloved community? And because that's also what we're voting on too, it's the spirit of this concept. And I feel like even though we didn't see as much of a fleshed out piece of art like we did with Rodney, I thought Perico described beloved community.
But he needs to
very
be
well.
careful because racism is very different in all different kinds of communities. So
Yeah.
if he just puts out Mexican and black out there, then, you know,
Absolutely, the actual
what's the rest of the
representation.
world?
Yeah, the actual representation needs to be exactly what you said, but when he was describing the concept of beloved community, I thought that came across very well in the word.
So maybe then each of them can sketch it out just a little bit more for our time frame. Do another, like, I mean, for Rodney, not have him repaint the whole thing, but maybe he could just sketch out some extra folks, you know, like how he thinks
Images,
he would
yeah,
put those
yeah.
in his lineup on his picture. And then maybe Perico can give us a little bit more of a, okay, how would you apply loosely? You know, how would you apply color and how would you make your
And what was Susan's, phrase that she used?
Symbolic.
Symbolic diversity.
Symbolic diversity.
What about what,
Are you capturing this, Nikki?
what about what Patty said about the other meeting that we had where we were definitely not going to be specific on faces?
That came out when we were doing the bathroom mural because Juan had submitted a piece that had faces. And it came up that the Arts Commission didn't want to go down that road because it was just too hard to represent everybody.
and they were very literal.
It is,
Very
Yeah.
literal
you
faces.
know, I mean, it really is too hard to
But-
represent everybody.
Yeah.
So,
So do
So
we,
what I'm, okay, go ahead.
do we want to do it this time or do we want to try to keep it more neutral? Because like Lou is bringing up, you know, somebody's going to be offended. How do we?
It's public art though.
Can you, what are you referring to
Well, like Lou was-
specifically?
well, like keeping it neutral so that you can't really tell who's who. Like, I don't know. Does it have to be? Do we need to represent beloved community with figures of people? Is there a way to?
we don't.
Is there
Well,
a
I
way?
think
That's
The-
where what Susan said about the symbolic diversity. And see how he would interpret that as being.
Mhm.
I mean, I
I'm
think,
with Lula,
Would you have to
'cause
join it with
I'm-
hands
I-
rather than
I'm
faces
Asian,
or
and,
something
like,
else?
it's rare that I see anyone of like Asian, I'm under like descent, so I totally, like for me, I totally get that.
I think both artists took the safe road on how to interpret community by representing faces and people. And there are so many different layers to community than what we look like. And I was kind of hoping that they would bring, like to Emily's point, like what they think that spirit of community is, rather than a whole bunch of different faces, because that kind of, it's walking a weird line because there's so many different cultures in the world. I mean, my Lord.
Has anybody seen the mural that's at Tillicum Community Center? A teacher from the Tillicum Elementary School painted it with her students, and it's fantastic. It shows community and diversity without showing faces. It's hands, and
There you go. Everybody,
they come together making a heart, and it says, that there's love in Tillicum. Why can't we do something similar to that and just show all these hands that are united? If you have a chance to take a look at that, I would look at that.
Tillicum Library? Is that what you said?
Tillicum Community Center. It's
Community Center.
teachers out of Tillicum Elementary, and she was in one of the MLK videos, including the mural was actually in the MLK
Right.
video.
Yeah.
So if you go back and look, I think it was it from this year? I think it was from this year. If you go back and look at it, you can catch it. And it's really a beautiful mural with color and brightness, and it just shows love.
Is it a blue hand and then a kind of an orange hand shaking with flowers? So it is?
Okay,
No,
so
it's different colored hands, and
I'll have you send me the link or a picture and I'll share it. In the interest of time, I don't, this is a really
So
good discussion,
Sally,
but
if we're going to offer, Enrico or whatever, what's his name? Enrico, the symbolic way of diversity, you should offer the same to,
Rodney.
Yeah.
and then they come back both.
so that's what I was gonna ask. So Rodney is very people, all his pictures are very people oriented, but so you want me to ask them both to not include faces specifically and to show us
I
the
did not say
symbolic?
that.
No, that's
I
what
just
I'm
said-
asking the group, because that's what I'm hearing. So
in fairness, yeah.
So say back to me what you're wanting me to ask the artist.
To ask both of them to come back with their interpretations of what Lonnie said about symbolic
diversity.
But do you want me to say we're no faces? Like no.
I don't
think
think
they
so.
could be, I think they can.
So let them figure it out.
Yeah.
Just say symbolic.
See, both artists have they have the traits. Do they have the beloved community traits?
The 20 that you
Yeah, the
sent?
traits, because I think one of those also.
It was in the email.
Okay, yeah, because thinking about ecology, I was thinking about the butterflies and just the garden and kind of that relationship was also part of that.
Okay.
So just thinking about that.
So I can. So we want you to come back with a concept for an interpretation of beloved community in terms of symbolic diversity and leave it at that.
If they can do it.
Okay. And the premise is to really avoid leaving someone out, making a culture feel like they're not. Is that
It's inclusive. It's
The
inclusive.
danger of not being inclusive.
Does everyone agree with this? Because if you don't, it's really okay to say that. Or if we're just going.
I still think the word community should be in that, not just the divert, because I think people tend to separate.
Community, beloved community.
Symbolic community, the beloved
I don't know,
community.
something- Yeah, just in relationship with the beloved community.
Okay, in relationship to.
Because you can ask 50 people what they think diversity is, and they're gonna give you 50 different.
Oh, yeah.
Definitions.
No.
And do we want them to have two concepts, one concept? Sometimes at this point, depending on what you want, you'll pay the artist a stipend because now they're really going down.
Drilling down, yeah.
So do we want two concepts from them? One concept?
I like one. I don't want to be, I don't want to make this, like, to Nikki's point, we don't need to nitpick over everything. I mean, I just want them to present that concept and we can kind of go from there.
Do we want to give them 4 weeks till our next meeting? Do we want to revisit this next year? Where is everybody?
In 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks.
That could be a thing.
Let them tell us that.
Okay.
Let them tell us that 2 weeks is no good.
Yeah. Okay.
And give them the option to do 1 or 2. If they want to come up with 2, let them.
Okay.
Doesn't matter to me.
Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna email out what I heard everyone say before I send it to the artist, because we're really, I think we're all digesting a lot here. And then when I get the okay, so look for the email, then I'll send that out to them. Okay?
At what point will you offer them assignments? Is that what you're saying typically? That's.
Is as you go down the road, sometimes even at the first iteration, you'll ask, you'll offer to pay a stipend.
What's the bid for the job, Sally?
Pardon me?
What's the bid for the job?
It's 10,000, the budget's 10,000 all in.
Well, they're bidding for the contract, so I don't think they need a stipend. They're getting 10,000 to do it.
That's what I say.
Okay.
Yep. Why more?
Right.
They're bidding for it.
This was I'm so proud of everyone for really saying what you think, for honoring each other's different opinions.
And you know, honestly, they need to be in person.
Yeah.
$10,000 is not peanuts.
Yeah, and I will, Perico is on a big mural job right now in Seattle. He also had like a house fire and a multiple, so just in his defense, but he did want to be here, but again, I feel like we didn't give him much time. Well, we didn't give him much time, but it's an exciting possibility too. And so let's just see what comes of it, but don't feel defeated. You know, if we need to wait, we'll wait, and no matter what, we'll end up with something that we'll all be very happy
We
with.
just want the best.
Yeah, exactly. And I love that we're so passionate about wanting that for our community, right? You're really feeling that respontality.
Our visitors were not always like this.
You know what?
There you are, Wally.
Actually, it's very healthy.
Oh my goodness, and for the youth council.
No.
When you catch us on our off time, like we're totally cool, like we're.
Oh my God, our retreat's gonna be so fun.
No, you gotta deal with reality. You gotta deal with reality.
You don't just come in and push them.
No.
I'm like, are you still streaming live on?
So thank you, we will.
It was very respectful, intentional dialogue. It was fine. It was fine.
And just next time, we should have hamburgers.